Good evening, dear sisters and brothers. Welcome to the evening session of Being Heartful Every Day with Swadhyaya. We are continuing our reflections on the theme of dealing with uncertainty. As we look more deeply, we realize that uncertainty is not just about external circumstances of life. It is also about the inner hesitation we feel when the heart's voice and the mind's reasoning seem to pull us in different directions. How do we respond when clarity feels distant and choices appear clouded? This is where the wisdom of the heart, nurtured through our practice, becomes our compass. Very often, uncertainty shows up when we stand at an inner crossroad. We may know what feels right in the heart, but hesitate to act on it because the mind doubts or fears consequences. This hesitation is natural, but it can also paralyze us. Heartfulness practice helps us in such moments by quietening the turbulence of the mind. When we dive into meditation, the heart's signals become clearer. The uncertainty may not vanish instantly, but our capacity to respond with courage increases. Taji reminds us in the article Dilemma and Indecision that the real challenge is not only to listen to the heart, but also to act upon its guidance. It takes courage to move forward when outcomes are unknown. This courage is not recklessness, it is born of trust in the beloved Master, in the practice, in the abhyas, and in the divine flow of life. Cleaning strengthens this courage by removing the heaviness of impressions that otherwise trap us in fear. Prayer anchors this courage in surrender, allowing us to step forward with humility and faith. When we overcome hesitation and act from the heart, we live in alignment with our higher purpose. We may not always understand the full picture, but each small step taken with the courage opens the way for grace to work in our lives. In this way, uncertainty becomes a teacher of faith, reminding us that we are never truly alone. The unseen hand of the great master is always guiding, always holding us, even in our most confusing times. Dear sisters and brothers, with this we move forward in the session. And a request, as always, to please extend the invitation of Heartfulness Master Classes and the BHED sessions to the dear and your near ones. We will now return to the inspirational reading, and we are going to reread the article Dilemma and Indecision, because revisiting any such article helps us to deeper our understanding. The third vikshepa is samasya, which is usually translated as doubt. But there are many words for doubt in Sanskrit, Shanka being the most common. A more appropriate translation of samasya is dilemma or indecision. It is that state of confusion where we are not clear in our own judgment and decision making ability. Why? Because a field of consciousness, the heart mind field, is not calm. We are unable to dive deep, listen to the heart, trust its wisdom. We all know that feeling of sitting on the fence, unable to make a decision, the confusion, the weighing up of pros and cons. We still use the faculties of the mind, thinking, manas, intellect, the, and ego, ahankar, within the canvas of consciousness, chit. But we use them at superficial level because we are unable to go deeper. We skim the surface because there's too much clutter in the heart and the mind is turbulent, like an ocean during the storm. This is a common state of consciousness for many of us, and so issues become dilemmas. The mind is not fine tuned enough to perceive to any depth, and we are left with many challenges. What to do is the question we ask. In this condition, our available consciousness is only a very thin film. Most of the spectrum of consciousness is unavailable to us in the realms of subconscious and superconscious. We do not have the skills to access it, and so the mind remains very limited. We evaluate and try to make decisions from a superficial perspective within that thin film of data because we cannot see from a higher and deeper perspective. Simultaneously, the mind is pulled by charged emotions, likes, dislikes, and prejudice. So there is little clarity, only turmoil and doubt. Compare this with pure consciousness, uncluttered, light, and infinitely expansive. Diving deeper into the heart, especially in meditation, we access a much greater spectrum of consciousness. Other dimensions open up that are not accessible at the surface level. For a start, as well using rational, deductive thinking, we also use the faculty of feeling to make decisions, where the heart gives signals of a more direct and a subtle nature. The heart is our barometer for how we feel about everything, including the choices we make in life. When we are happy with those choices, the heart remains a silent witness and there is natural contentment. When the heart is not convinced, we feel restless. The heart sets our direction like a rudder and tells us when we need to change direction. Listening to the heart signal is the first step. The second step is to make use of those signals to ask the heart questions in such a way that we get clear indications. The more we listen, the clearer the message becomes. As in neuroscience, the more we use the pathways, the stronger they become. The third step is then to have the courage to follow the heart's guidance, the guidance from our own divine source. In a sense, we are allowing the soul to guide our lives. Dear sisters and brothers, we will take the rest from the reading and offer the universal prayer now. All brothers and sisters are being filled with love and devotion, and real faith is growing stronger in them. सभी भाई बहन प्रेम और भक्ति से भर रहे हैं और उनमें सच्ची श्रद्धा दृढ़ होती जा रही है। Feel this universal there, awaken loves in the hearts of all, and may unity reign amongst all. Dear sisters and brothers, as you prepare for the rest tonight, bring to mind any decisions or dilemmas that trouble you and offer them in prayer, asking for the courage to listen to the heart and follow its guidance. Trust that the clarity will come in its own time, supported by Master's grace. Dear sisters and brothers, thank you for joining this evening session today. And we look forward to seeing you all tomorrow for the morning session at 6 a.m. as we will continue exploring this theme of dealing with uncertainty. Until then, may your heart remains courageous, trusting, and anchored in Master's remembrance. Thank you.